Hey everybody, let's talk about Pewdiepie.
Yeah.
Felix Kjellberg, as his actual name is, he lives in, where is it, Brighton? In Brighton, in the United Kingdom. And we all know his style of video because he's very loud and boisterous and crazy, making what he refers to as really shitty content, I think. But he was evicted from his house. And when you first hear that, you're probably like, that makes sense. He's very loud. But in this situation, he said he had no forewarning. He was in the middle of his day and someone knocked on his door and they started yelling at him. They called him a, quote, faggot and accused him of making loud noise. And later he got an eviction notice. And after the eviction notice, he got a notice that he had been making too much noise. So he made a video about the entire ordeal, and here's a taste of it.
Wait, Edgar is coming.
Hi. Oh, my daughter, mate, can you keep the noise down? Oh, yeah. Making loads of noise and carries on all the building, so I don't want that noise.
So yeah, he's getting kicked out of his place for what he was told by his landlord was, quote, antisocial behavior. He points out that the landlord was upset with him for having what they thought was gay sex in what Kjellberg points out is the gay capital of the UK. So if you're going to be a landlord in that area, come on. Let's not yell at people for having gay sex in the middle of the afternoon. Let's applaud it if that's what's happening. But yeah, he's already moved on. And one thing he points out is luckily for us, it's easy to move. It's not a problem. We have the resources and we can just do it. I imagine for another normal person, this would throw them out on the streets. So Pewdiepie, social activist, not just video game player.
Yeah, this was kind of a strange story to read because if you watch the video, he really explains, okay, this is where we make our videos. I don't think he lives there. I think it's where his office or video making place is. But he shows us that he has his soundproof room and he's like, most of my videos are in here. And I know it can get loud, which is why everything is soundproof and you see the ceiling, everything tight as a drum. And then he goes out into the living room and he's like, sometimes you do videos here and this is where it gets louder. And, but they do it during the daytime. It just, to me, it seems like not a big deal. And then you have this landlord really, I mean, what's, his name is Edgar. We did hear that. Edgar, it's like, your name would be Edgar.
Edgar, wrong.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. I think living next to Pewdiepie would be the worst experience in the world. I think it would be hell. Because if you've watched his videos, it's a lot of shouting.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
As evidenced by the fact that he has a soundproof room. And I think, yes, it is to a certain extent unfair of him to then go into the middle room where it's not soundproof. Because he knows he has a loudness problem.
Sometimes he needs more space, that's what he was saying. So
I
he
don't
needs
give
more
a
space
if
for
you
the
need more
videos.
space. Okay, I'm your neighbor.
Yeah.
You don't hear me. You don't hear me. And then suddenly it's just... And then you knock on the door. You wouldn't be like the landlord. I'm not excusing the landlord's behavior. I'm just trying to put people who live in houses in the context of what it's like to live in apartments or share a wall with someone. And then you go up and say, excuse me, what's with the noise? And then their answer is, oh, we just needed more space.
Well, they're shooting a video. It's only going to be like an hour. They usually do it during the daytime. I think that this was a major overreaction on the part of the landlord, and it's hard not to speculate on whether or not the landlord is homophobic if you're throwing around the word faggot.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that. You can't
Unless
be
he's like, you're a cigarette.
Yeah, like give me a fag. But he didn't say that. So that's why this is so fishy to me. And I think it was appropriate for Pewdiepie to call him out in this video and explaining what the situation was, because this might halt production for a while because he has to make a whole new soundproof room.
Yeah, he says he has an office space. It did look like a live-work situation.
Yeah.
And why else would you be out on the street if you didn't live there? Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, I'm out on the street. Now I just have to be at my house. That doesn't make sense. I'm out on the street because my home, I've been kicked out. Seems like a live-work situation. But hilarious.
Yes.
Like, you're a landlord. You're like, a shitty person. Seems like he's shitty because he's calling him what he's calling him. And but then to realize the person that you called out is the person with literally the biggest reach in the world of any individual who could be making a racket like this.
Well, so that indicated two things for me. One, it totally showed a generational gap between YouTube, celebrity YouTube stardom, and let's assume that he's maybe a little bit older, and just how these are not necessarily, to us, they're huge stars, but this guy clearly did not know who PewDiePie was. And two, it made me wonder who, because I actually am not, I don't know really that much about PewDiePie, and I'm wondering who are watching these videos. Who are you like
the
who,
PewDiePie videos?
Yeah, because they're so popular.
That's the thing. I've seen his videos, and I've never not enjoyed a PewDiePie video. Though when I first someone described them to me as like, this guy just is very loud while playing games. But no, he is funny and entertaining. The best one I saw was when he was doing a surgery game where you're supposed to do surgery on people and the controls are really difficult. So he's just cutting folks open and there's blood going everywhere. And he is able to make it stay entertaining in a very basic game setting for a long time. And you can see why he's so popular. I just don't, I'm not like one of those people who's like, oh, PewDiePie uploaded a video today, let me go see it.
This is important.
How about you?
No, I don't play video games, so I feel like I missed out on the whole fandom.
It's crazy. He has had such a giant impact on the YouTube world and everything in entertainment, because there are people who are very well established, video producers now that are owned by corporate overlords who are like, now we must do gaming.
Yeah.
We did it's pop culture, now we have to have gaming, and you just play games for hours. And it's amazing, and people do it, and it's like, I don't know. I know Idarola over on Think Tank does a bunch of streaming, and he's got people that tune in to watch all that stuff. I did it once with Grand Theft Auto.
And
there were 10 people who were really into it.
That is so weird. What a strange.
Well, it's like going over to your friend's house and playing video games.
Not an activity I did.
No?
But now I want to. Now I want to try. Maybe.
Have you had weird interactions with your neighbors?
No, my neighbors are really, really cool. And the reason why they're really cool is because we have bound together to understand that our landlord is crazy. So we all just were like, you gotta stick together, because she keeps trying to say things like, you're not supposed to have dog. And I'm like, I absolutely am allowed to have it. I was just talking to Amir about this. But yeah, I've had some weird neighbors.
I had a neighbor, a couple crazy neighbors. One just showed up the first day and was like, you don't use chemicals, do you? And I was like, what? I mean, I think it's safe to say that everybody uses chemicals. You're gonna have to be a little more specific. She's like, I don't do chemicals. And then I had another one.
Ew, that's so creepy.
Here, I hope if we get to this, if this is not omitted for being too boring a story from the video. I had a neighbor who one looked like the guy looked like, or a landlord, one looked like Frankenstein. That was the guy. And the woman looked like the bat-faced guy from the He-Man live-action movie. And she just showed up, knocking on the door with her big hair thing. It was amazing. You get a lot of weird stuff when you live in apartment. You live in enough apartments, you get some pretty weird people that you live around, but you learn to love them over time. What are your guys' stories? Tell us about you living with weird neighbors. Are you on PewDiePie's side? Or do you think he had it coming being loud? We want your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe to this channel. We'll see you next time on Pop Trigger.